And let's catch up on the WTA Tour events that happened this week. We've got Abu Dhabi, a 500 event, which Belinda Bencic won, winning against Ashlyn Kruger, a bit of a surprise finalist there. 3 sets it was to capture the title again for Bencic, because she previously won this before. Bencic, though, fantastic story. She's come back from having a child. So she is the first mother to win a WTA event in almost 2 years, where Svitolina did it in Strasbourg. And yeah, it was a very nice moment seeing her with her baby Bella at the end, enjoying a special moment after she'd lifted the title. It's fantastic to have her back on tour, and she played, yeah, fantastic tennis to win this title. Joel, how impressed were you with Bencic, especially the manner of the final? 3 sets, but she really kind of dominated the second and third set, 6-1, 6-1 to capture this title. How good is it to see her back?
Yeah, I mean it's just capped off really. I think like how quickly she's been able to find her feet on the tour, and that semi-final as well against Rybakina just showed that she's got natural talent that it's no wonder it's taken her into the top 10, a semi-final at the US Open. So yeah, I think it's a very good performance, and it's interesting to hear that she kind of, when she did kind of come on her comeback as a mother, she started on the ITF to get match fit before making that jump and that transition to the WTA tour. And it does make me wonder if she's sort of showing the sort of best practice way to sort of come back on the tour after a long period off. Because I think with some other players, maybe they've gone straight back into the WTA tour and it's not worked as well as they may have hoped.
Yeah, because she was in this event as a wild card. I mean, she did win this event 2 years ago, so she's obviously loves these courts. She's never lost at Abu Dhabi, which probably helps a little bit. But yeah, like you said, she's sort of made a very humble approach to her comeback, dropping down to the ITF level, which I think Svitolina did a bit of as well. Whereas, I mean, you look at the likes of Naomi Osaka, who has somewhat struggled, certainly hasn't got to, I mean, she's got to finals, I suppose, but not sort of come back so quickly to where Bencic is and her level. So I think there's a lot to be said for the Bencic approach, and yeah, maybe she will now be a model for other kind of new mums coming back onto the circuit. I mean, fantastic for her to come through, like you said, beating Rybakina, von Drusever as well. It's just, she's had a couple of
Quality.
but quality players. And just a word. I mean, do you think this might be? I don't want to say it, but a bit of a renaissance for her, because like you said, she has got one semi-final in her career at slam level, but was she always a player where we thought, oh, she's never going to quite go all the way? And perhaps with Madison Keys recently doing what she did at the Australian Open, perhaps is there going to be a new part of her career for Belinda Bencic post motherhood?
I mean,
Chris, do you think that's a possibility?
I can definitely see that happening, because she has always been like a prodigious sort of talent in terms of, similar to Shapovalov, in terms of how successful they were so young and how much talent they showed. I think she's probably, the Madison Keys comparison is very fair in terms of the fact that they have that quality, undeniable quality, but not necessarily have won the biggest titles. Obviously, Madison changed all that. And I think when something like this happens, potentially like having a baby, it seems like she's really playing for something a bit more. I think there's some real determination. And I think if you've been playing, for example, on the tour for so long, I think sometimes it's hard to keep up that level of intensity when she did break onto the tour in her mid-teens. So she's been playing a lot of tennis, the break, the time to refocus. I think it really can do wonders. And obviously Svitolina, it worked really well for her. She came back and made semi-finals at slams again. And she also, as we said, played the ITF events. But Bencic is, I mean, her quality is undeniable. Winning the Billie Jean King Cup for her country. She played some absolutely incredible tennis there. I mean, she's no stranger to upsetting some top players. I mean, she upset Serena Williams when she was still a teenager. So I think maybe this is a case where she'd be looking at Madison and thinking, I could do that too. And she's got a lot more weight of shot. I'm not sure whether it's the change of racket, the Yonex racket, the same racket as Madison was playing with, but she was really slapping those forehands and backhands. So I actually think she could make a really deep run. I think the grass could be particularly good for her this season.
Yeah, well, You've heard it here first. You can gloat about that.
And please forget
if
about
that
it
comes
if
true.
it doesn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we will make sure you know about it if it does
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, if it
Yeah.
does, I'll make a clip.
I mean, Katie Balter, I think there's a bit of banter between her and Alex de Minaur about I think Katie Balter was saying, oh, you know, if you get married, you're going to win a slam, or if you have a baby, you're going to win a 500. So that was quite amusing. Yeah, do both, and then your career is just going to, you know, go from heights to heights.
Well, she's won a 500 already, so you know,
Yeah,
maybe what did she do to get 1,000?
I would have loved it. Did Potapova get in on that chat and say, if you get divorced, you win a 250?
250, yes.
Not worth it, is it? Stay together. Stay together. Yeah.
Just a note on Aisling Kruger getting to the final in Abu Dhabi. Bit of a surprise finalist. I don't think any of us would necessarily have put her there. She's around 40 in the world, very, very young. So she's kind of up and coming still. Didn't perform the greatest tennis in the final. Lots of unforced errors. And she's already lost in the next event in Doha to Sophia. But any thoughts on Aisling Kruger? Chris, is she one that you're watching avidly as a sort of potential future star?
Well, I've been very impressed with her in terms of, I thought she was actually more of a doubles player because she really hit my radar when she won Charleston last year with my favourite Sloane Stephens. That was a bit of a scratch pairing. That was Sloane's sort of biggest title in doubles that she'd won, and that was when I think people realised that she was someone who could do quite a lot of damage on a doubles court. And then since then, she's put together some great results, and she's quite quietly gone up the rankings. I think we've been talking a lot about a lot of the other American players, but she's very much in that mix now. I think when it comes to, you know, the Peyton Stearns, maybe there's been a bit of a stall there, but I think that the tennis that Aisling Kruger played this week shows that she really is able to do a lot more than people maybe thought she could have. And maybe she should be looked at that in a similar way to the men's, where we looked at the 23-year-olds who are now really coming through. You don't have to necessarily make it really big when you're younger. I think there still is definitely plenty of room for, you know, Jack Draper at 23. I think Aisling Kruger coming through now. I think there definitely is that sort of, well, I don't know what we call this gen now, but not the youngest of the group. The prodigies, as we've said before, but maybe there is this sort of new wave of players who are very much coming up, like Aisling.
Yeah, definitely be interested to see how the rest of her year pans out. And finally, last but not least, on to the Cluj event in Transylvania Open, a 250, as Joel mentioned, Potapova winning that one. And yeah, a quick note on her marital status. She was previously married to Alexander Shevchenko, fellow player, but they got divorced last year. So she's sort of having a bit of a post-divorce moment with this win over Lucia Bronzetti. 3 sets it was to win the Transylvania Open title. Potapova as the winner here. She wasn't playing with a coach and she had a shoulder injury. So pretty strong-willed to come through and get the win here, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, she found a way to get it done. She was the number 1 seed here, so I think she will be very pleased to get the win here. We've seen her come through at various points. We obviously talk quite a lot about that result where she was annihilated by Iga Swiatek last year at Roland Garros, and I think that sort of a loss sort of derailed some of her momentum that maybe she had going up the rankings. But I mean, finding a way to win, I think winning ugly at times is actually a really good skill to have as a player, because it means that no matter who you're playing, you're able to find a way to win. And that's what she did. I think this wasn't the strongest. We've talked about this, that the 250s do struggle with a lineup. So I think you can take a lot from winning a title and getting the wins in a row, getting time on court. But I don't think it necessarily is that sort of marker that maybe it once was, winning a title on the tour.